The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Welcome back to Celebrity. It's Olivia here. She literally said, the prince was a stalker. Wait, what? The prince? The guy who kickstarted Disney's entire legacy? The man who, for generations, kissed Snow White back to life, just got dragged as a creep? And not by some edgy podcast host or late-night comedian, by the actress playing Snow White herself. Rachel Zegler didn't just bite the apple. She spit it out, stomped on the fairy tale, and live-streamed the funeral. And the fallout wasn't just public, it was personal. Because now, her co-star Andrew Burnap, a rising star in his own right, is being cut, ignored, and blamed for a film that's spiraling into one of Disney's most expensive embarrassments. This isn't just a flop, it's a royal disaster. And trust me, the betrayal, the shade, the ego, it's just getting started.
I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film.
You want to trash that legacy, that company that now Disney has screwed up the last 5 years trying to please a small percentage of minorities in America? Yeah, we're sick of it. So the more you do this, Disney, Iger, Zegler, whatever her name is, yes, this is exactly the backlash you're going to get from parents who have kids who are your customers. You're supposed to win parents over. You're talking to kids, the parents pay for the tickets. You have to be a dummy as a marketer. If I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what? Pay her a couple $1 million, go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role because you just screwed this thing up.
It all started like a fairy tale. Rachel Zegler, fresh off the glow of West Side Story, was hailed as the next Disney princess. Handpicked, spotlighted, celebrated, Disney rolled out the royal carpet, betting the entire remake of Snow White on this one star. And for a moment, it felt right. She had the look, the voice, the buzz. Gen Z's own fairy tale heroine, ready to bring Snow White into a new era. But somewhere between the red carpets and the hot mics, something cracked. She didn't just reimagine the story, she rejected it. She called the prince a stalker, mocked the original film as outdated, shrugged off the idea of love, and publicly laughed about her co-star Andrew Burnap's scenes being cut. And while she smirked in interviews, Disney executives sat backstage sweating because they weren't just watching a promotional campaign fall apart, they were watching an empire unravel. Now, picture this. Andrew Burnap, classically trained, respected in theater circles, hungry for his breakout moment, finally lands a role in a billion-dollar Disney reboot. He tells friends his life is about to change. And it did, just not in the way he ever imagined. No press coverage, no red carpet nods, no meet the prince puff pieces. He was erased from the narrative. And the worst part? The woman who pulled the spotlight off him was the one standing right next to him. But this isn't just actor versus actress. This is legacy versus ego. And soon, the internet chose a side.
Things just went from bad to worse for Snow White, and it's shaping up to become one of the biggest bombs of all time.
The Snow White remake is now one of the lowest rated films in IMDb history. This is such a poor reception for a Disney princess movie, and I'll be surprised if it even has a 1-star tomorrow because the bad reviews keep pouring in by the second.
This wasn't just a PR misstep. This was war. The moment Rachel Zegler started firing off sound bites, mocking the prince, mocking the love story, mocking the entire DNA of Snow White, the internet didn't just listen, it erupted. Fans who grew up worshiping Disney were suddenly asking, do they even like the stories they're remaking anymore? And right in the middle of that backlash, one name kept popping up, Andrew Burnap. Because while Rachel was lighting up interviews with phrases like, his scenes could get cut, who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. Andrew was watching his moment, the one he'd worked years for, get buried under her bravado. This wasn't just Snow White versus the trolls. It was Rachel versus Andrew, Zegler versus Burnap, the star versus the collateral damage. She was everywhere, trending on Twitter, becoming a meme, getting dragged by YouTubers and TikTok editors and late-night hosts who had a little too much fun with her no love story takes. And Andrew, he was a ghost, cropped out of promos, left off interviews, edited into oblivion. The realest punch? He once said he screamed outside when he got the call for Snow White, thought his whole life was about to change. And it did, but not into a dream, into a nightmare, where your entire career pivot hinges on someone else's viral flameout. This isn't just a messy press tour anymore. This is career collateral, and Andrew Burnap's name is all over the wreckage.
Wow, people love me.
The receipts? Oh, they're brutal. Clip after clip. Rachel Zegler on press tours, smiling, tossing off lines like, "He literally stalks her." And all of Andrew's scenes could get cut, who knows? She says it with a laugh, a shrug, like it's just Hollywood banter. But the internet wasn't laughing. TikTok exploded. Creators stitched her interviews with footage of the original Snow White, captioning it, "This isn't empowerment, it's erasure." Comments flooded in. She just ended that man's career and giggled about it? How is this okay? Reddit threads got nasty, compiling every time Rachel dismissed the prince or minimized the love story. They started calling her the anti-princess, a symbol of everything fans felt was going wrong with modern Disney. And in the shadows, Andrew Burnap was silent. No tweets, no responses, no interviews. Because what could he say? He was cast to be a prince and ended up edited out of his own coronation. Meanwhile, YouTube was ruthless. Commentary channels like Geeks Plus Gamers, The Quartering, The Film Drunk Show, they didn't hold back. They called it the Zegler effect. The idea that one star's ego, wrapped in corporate virtue, could derail an entire production. Even mainstream outlets started picking it up. Articles headlined, "The Snow White Prince Who Disappeared," and "From Shakespeare to Shrapnel, The Fall of Andrew Burnap." And as for Disney, not a word. No defense, no press push, just silence. And in that silence, the audience filled the void with memes, outrage, and one haunting question. What happens when you burn the fairy tale before the credits even roll?
So apparently Rachel Zegler is suing Disney Studios for wrongful termination and also discrimination. I literally don't understand what's going on. Rachel just needs to sit down. Like this says, rumor has it Rachel Zegler might be suing Disney and others for canceling some of her Snow White press tour due to all the controversies. Bro, before the movie even came out, she was talking about how she wants to bring up the woman in this movie and how there's not going to be a prince. And so I understand like Disney saying like, you did so much in this press tour that did not help us in any way and actually negatively affected our movie. So I mean, honestly, it does kind of make sense.
You want irony? How about this? The actress cast to revive a fairy tale became the reason it died. Rachel Zegler was supposed to bring Disney's Snow White into a new age, a modern heroine, a bold princess, a voice for a generation. Instead, she became the voice of an industry that's forgotten how to tell stories people love. And Andrew Burnap, the trained actor who dedicated years to the craft, who cried when he got that casting call, who thought he was stepping into the light, he didn't get a red carpet moment. He didn't get a poster. He didn't even get a storyline. Because the very woman who was supposed to share the screen with him spoke him out of existence. And here's where it gets dark. Rachel didn't mean to do this, at least not intentionally. But somewhere between empowerment and ego, between feminist soundbite and studio politics, something got lost. And that something was someone else's career. This wasn't just a flop, it was a tragedy. Because in trying to destroy the outdated narrative of love saving the day, she created a new one, where ambition burns bridges, where self-discovery steamrolls everyone else, where the prince never had a chance to show up. And that is the darkest twist of all.
$70 million on the film, the studio opted for a small LA premiere held Saturday in the middle of the day with limited press. Zegler greeted children dressed as Snow White. She was not at Disneyland on Sunday, where Gal Gadot promoted the film, surrounded by children dressed as her character, the Evil Queen.
So now we're here. The fairy tale's in flames. The prince is missing. The princess trending for all the wrong reasons. And what was supposed to be Disney's next billion-dollar crown jewel is now a cautionary tale etched into Hollywood's Hall of Shame. Rachel Zegler didn't just fumble a role. She triggered a cultural implosion, one that swept up Andrew Burnap, devoured fan goodwill, and left Disney scrambling for a cleanup plan they may never find. And the question echoing across every screen, every feed, every group chat, who's really to blame? Was Rachel too bold or just misled? Was Andrew sacrificed or simply forgotten? Or is this what happens when a studio tries to repackage a classic with no understanding of why it mattered in the first place? Ask yourself, when the PR smoke clears and the cameras stop rolling, what's left? A shattered cast, a poisoned brand, a love story no one ever got to see. So tell me, is this the moment Rachel Zegler's career changed forever? Or the moment Hollywood finally started listening to its audience? Drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just about Snow White anymore. It's about the stories we've loved, the ones we've lost, and whether anyone in power still remembers why they mattered in the first place. Your move, Disney.